All right. Just so you see this, I'm assuming this is where you are right now. Maybe you've already started putting in some of the information. But I just sent every one of you this file. So if you don't want to type all that stuff in, if you'd rather copy it, all right, you can do that. So I just sent you this text file. And if you look, I made a couple changes. We don't have to make these. If you want to put it in exactly the way it looks right here, that's fine. Not a problem. But notice I changed the ID numbers from like 1 to 1001, etc. Because that's a little more reminiscent of the way it probably would look. All right. Also, instead of infotech, I put in information technology. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. But if you'd all look on the screen just for a minute here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through just the first one. And I want to show you something you may have figured out, you may not have figured out. But I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, okay, I want to start inserting records, so I'm going to click the button that says insert. All right. Don't put anything in these columns. Please look on the screen. Don't put anything in here. Don't change anything that's in here. That's your schema. But just for the first record, I'm going to put in 1001, just that one. For the Social Security number for me, 111-22-3333. The first name, Jeffrey. The middle initial P. The last name, Scott. The address, 755 Parr Road, Wentzville, Missouri, 63385. The department name, I changed it. I'm going to put in actually information technology. I just think it looks better than infotech. Again, there's only 2 records, so you have to do that, so it's not a big thing for you. And the department number is 1. Now, please look up on the screen. You can all do that. I have no doubt. But I want you to look on the screen. Now I'm going to click the Go button. And what it does is it shows you the actual SQL that was generated here. So in other words, what it shows me is this. And you go, well, that's not easy to read. I know that. But if I come in here, I'm going to do some line breaks in here just so it's a little easier to see. Bless you. That's what it did. Me putting in that stuff generated this stuff. Hopefully you agree that doing it this way was easier than the way that we did it when we were working with the MySQL console window. All right? Plus, and again, just so you see this, plus, if you look up on the screen here, if I come back here and I say, okay, I've got that record in there now. I know I do. How do I know that? Well, if I want to, you don't have to do this, but I can click the SQL button and I can say select star from employees and click the Go button. And it shows me what's in there. That's me. Okay? But now with this in there, if I want to, I can always come back and notice I can, if I want to now, I can come in and I can click copy. And it's going to bring this back up and it's got all these filled in. So if I had a lot of things with similar information, kind of quicker to do that. Again, you may or may not agree. That's the first thing. Second thing is when I come through here and I click and I get this. Let's say that I put Jeff in here instead of Jeffrey. All right, I can click edit. Whoop, I'll click edit right there and click edit. Now I can go back and in here make any changes. So I spelled Parr wrong. All right, something like that. This is, to me, is much easier than having to write update queries when you use the MySQL console window. So what I'd like you to do, please, again, you could typically put in 2 records at a time. Then you're going to have to go back and then click the insert button again. But I'd like you to take the time. I'm going to give everybody between now and even if you're a slow typist and it takes you a minute to put in each record, let's say I'll give you 15 minutes to put in all 10 of these records. All right, and I'm sorry, because if you're that slow and you can't type faster than that, I don't know what to say. So let's put in the 10 records between now. We'll say till 9:45. That's 19 minutes. That's whatever, 2 minutes a record or whatever it is. Yes.
On the second, but you know how you can put in two at once?
Yes.
The second one has ignore check, should be unchecked.
Let's see.
Top,
Right here,
yeah.
I just left it because this is how I put them all in before, and I didn't touch anything that was on there. All right. So I'm just going to go in now. Please look. Now don't put anything for any ID from now on. After you put the first one in as 1001, leave the rest blank. It'll put in 1002, 1003, etc. All right. And if you wonder, the only reason I use this order, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. It's the order that you sit in. That's why you're in this order. Again, if you want to put in your own middle initial, if I put yours in wrong, I don't really care.
So once you get to here, what do you push to keep it?
You might have to make your screen smaller, but there should be a go or there, go button.
I did.
It's in there then. So if you click, for example, if you click browse, it'll show you the record that's in there. There it is.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
And if you want to start doing a new one, then just click the insert button and it'll bring that same screen up again. All right, now Brady just mentioned to me that I made a mistake in here if you don't look on the screen, and that is Wentzville right here, that's the wrong zip code. So it's very simple to change. You click Edit, okay, or you check the box, you click Edit, you go over to Wentzville and you change it from 63367 to 363385. That's all. Click Go, and boom, it's back and it's changed. That's all there is to this. All right, so hopefully you've had enough time. If you didn't, you can do it later. It's no big thing. What I'm going to do between now and 10 o'clock, for like 10 minutes, we're going to run some queries. Okay? And after we run some queries and the rest of the period is yours, I'd like you to start to develop, hopefully, a comfort level with using this. All right? So, if you look up on the screen here, when you want to start writing your own queries, you want to click the SQL button. All right? And you can see that by default it puts this in here. Select star from employees where one. That doesn't even say, what the heck is where one? One is always one. So basically it's the same thing as saying select star from employees. You don't have to use the backticks or grave accents. You can use them. So for instance, if I want to just so we can see our first query in here, and I'll blow this up a little so it's bigger. All right. So I'm going to select star, and just so you know, if I wanted to, I can literally type select star from. See what I'm saying? I can put everything on its own line. You can put things in uppercase, you can put things in lowercase. Find where you're comfortable and do it that way. Many books put keywords in uppercase, but you don't have to. So for instance, if I wanted everyone who worked in information technology, I can either say select star from employees, where department number, I know it's department number 1, equal 1, and you don't need the semicolon, but you can put it in there. And if I click the Go button, what does it show me? Amin and me and I are the two who work in there. All right, if I didn't want to do it that way, all right, so I can highlight this, copy it to the clipboard, go back to SQL again, paste it in, but instead of saying that, I can say where department name equals information technology. And again, put that in, click Go again, and I should get back the same information. Does that make sense? All right. So what, I'm just going to go and run just a boatload of queries in here, just so I can start getting used to using this. So the nice thing is whenever you click the SQL button, it should show you your field names over here. So that's pretty nice. So if I want to select this, but I want it shown, let's say, and this is something you should ideally listen to me, but don't look at the screen. All right? So in other words, I want to show all employees, but what I want them is I want, rather than showing them in order based on their ID, I want them in order based on their last name. So you should be able to write that query now from what we've learned. Again, it's select star from employees, order by last name. All right, it's all stuff like that. These are things, the kind of things I'm going to ask you. You can see now they're in order based on the last name. All right. If I said write that same query and put that same query in, but do it in descending order, it's the same query. Now, please look up on the screen. This is pretty important. All right. See how it does this? This is fairly new. When I say that it used to not give you the command you just put in, all right? But when you get your, on Thursday, when you get your worksheet, okay, what's going to happen is sooner or later, you're going to type in a command that's almost correct. It's almost correct, but you maybe spelled something a little wrong or whatever, and instead of highlighting this, you're going to click SQL. Now it's gone. So what I suggest is as you're typing a command in, okay, that if nothing else, okay, I think that command is right here, DESC, as an example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that command, and I'm just going to open up a file in a regular notepad, and I'm going to paste it in. Because what I'm going to ask you on this worksheet is give me the command, and sometimes I'm going to say, and how many records did it produce? Okay? Or if it's, I'm asking a max of something. What is the max? Give me the command and tell me what the max is. That kind of an idea. Does that make sense? All right. So if I do this command now, if I come in here and put in this command and click go, now notice Ivy's first and Amin is last. All right. But these are things, what you should be able to do now is to go back, look at the sheet the worksheet that I gave you, the thing we just went over, that 44-page thing, and start typing in queries. All right, because you can probably guess a lot of the ones that that are very similar to what you're going to be doing. Okay. Now, one more thing, and then I'm just about finished for the period here. But one more thing, if I look at this and I look at the structure, it shows me here. It shows me the schema. Now, I may have talked about this before, but it bears repeating. First thing, okay, there's the schema, and if I do put in the browse. Almost always, if this was a, quote, real database, it wouldn't look like this. I don't want to be putting in that information every time. That's a waste. That's a waste of time. Even for a data entry person, that's a waste of time. Plus, originally when I showed it to you, instead of information technology, it said infotech. What if somebody's just a bad speller and spells information in a variety of ways, or technology in a variety of ways? What we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to break out and we're going to make a new table called departments that's going to have the department name and the department number in it. Once we do that, we'll remove the department name from this table. All right? And if we need it back, we'll join the tables together. The other thing, too, is, and again, I may have mentioned this, I get confused easily, but I get confused because I'll sometimes do the lecture in the morning when I'm taping it for the YouTube channel, and then I'll give you almost the same lecture. So sometimes you say, well, you already told us that. I'm not sure if I did or not, so I'm saying it again. All right? And that is, if I know your zip code, I know your city and state. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to pull out the city and state from this table, and I'm going to have a new table that's called city state or something like that, that's going to have the zip, the city, and the state. I'm going to leave the zip in here like I'm going to leave the department number in here, but I'm going to end up removing the department name, the address, or the department name, the city, and the state. All right? Why? Because that's how it's done. All right? And imagine if this was cities and stuff from all over the country. So imagine there were thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of records. The chance of somebody from outside of Missouri putting in Wentzville and always spelling it correctly are probably pretty remote. All right? Even Lake St. Louis. Some people will write lake, and then they'll write ST, period. Some won't put the T in, or the period in there. Some might write SAINT, etc. This way we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. All right? So my hope is that what we'll be able to do tomorrow is I'm going to, by the beginning of the period, if I get this to work, and I know it works because I've done it before, I'm going to give you 3 spreadsheet files. All right? And we're going to basically just import those 3 files in, and we won't have to type in any database information. All right? And like I said, ideally we'll do that and that'll work. The last thing that I want to tell you, and I found this out because I just Googled it, all right? And that is if I come in here and I Google PHPMyAdmin, you can see it, tutorial PDF. All right? I just looked at a couple of these. One I looked at was this one right here from Indiana. It's not bad. It's 4 or 5 pages, but it's so general, it doesn't really tell you anything. All right? So that's one that you could look at if you want to. But what I want to show you is this one. If you look, everybody look on the screen here. And that is, if you go up, I think it's here where it says Mastering PHPMyAdmin. This, if you decide databases are for me, this is what I want to do. And I like MySQL. I want to see if I can get a job doing this. Well, this is going to take a while to load. This is a free 394-page PDF book that's just on PHPMyAdmin. So if you decide you want to teach yourself, there's probably, rather than have me teach you, I know enough PHPMyAdmin to get by on. But I'm sure there's a lot of hacks and a lot of shortcuts and a lot of other stuff that I don't know because I've never had to use them. But if you decide you'd really like to learn this, or this is an example, let's say that Dominic goes in for a job interview and it's at a place where he knows they tell him that he's going to be using this. Well, then it would be kind of nice to at least look through a book like this and have a comfort level, maybe run through some examples or whatever before you go in there. All right? It's interesting. We talk about, hopefully it's okay, he doesn't mind I say this, and I am taping, but my future son-in-law, he is at a job that he doesn't like. So he's either given notice or he's gone already, okay? And he's interviewing for another job that he really wants. Well, while he was waiting, there's another company that he wanted to always work for since he started college, back when he was 20, and he's like 24 now. And he interviewed once at that company, and for whatever reason, they didn't hire him. But now he's supposed to start Wednesday at this new place, and on Friday, that other company that he's always wanted to work for called and wants him to interview for 2 different jobs. They always say that the best time to go look for a job is when you already have a job. And sometimes life just has a funny way of, so I said, which one are you taking? And he's like, I don't know, but boy, it's a great situation. All right. So spend the rest of the period. If you want to do something else, do something else. But otherwise, start writing different queries. Hopefully by now, you can start to see what I consider at least to be the advantage of using PHPMyAdmin versus the MySQL console. If you'd rather use the console, then use it. You're going to probably fall behind as we start writing more and more queries as a class. But that's okay. All right? Plus, tomorrow when we go in and we start doing imports, literally, if you look, there's what you do. You click import. And you say, okay, I want to import into this table. So if I had a spreadsheet, etc., I could, if it was already set up, we could do it like that. If I want to export, all right, I should be able to select template. I don't remember where that is. That's why I said I don't remember. It's a SQL format. I don't remember. I've done it, but it's been a while. Okay? But I'm hoping we can do an import and at least one import and at least one export tomorrow. All right? And then on Thursday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, it's going to probably be a very long assignment because I'm going to say, okay, here's the data. You have to enter it in. You have to enter it in. Here's the schema. You have to enter it in, etc. And you're going to have to show me your commands that you use to do all that stuff. Did you notice this? If you look up on the screen here, if I come in, I click Insert. So you don't have to do this, but I'm going to put in a new record. All right, I'm just making this up. And I'll put my wife in here. Again, you don't have to do this. All right, that as soon as I put in all that for information, I click Go, it always shows me what was generated. The reason I'm telling you that is if I tell you to create a schema and it shows you everything, then highlight all that stuff. Copy it to the clipboard. All right? And that might be something that you have to include when you are turning in the worksheet. Does that make sense? You're going to get the worksheet both a hard copy and you're going to get it electronically. Because I want you to, it'll be like a Word document, and I want you to put the answers on there. I found out over time when I have people write, some of you, I can't read your writing. It's like the old joke, and I'm glad none of you did this when we were doing our tests. We'd have true-false tests, and people would do this, or they'd do this. All right? I mean, you, as an instructor, you see all that stuff. As far as I'm concerned, if somebody does one, they're wrong. Well, I got it right, sort of. No, they're wrong. Okay? But that's the stuff that we'll be doing. So come Thursday when you come in here, and I haven't done it yet, I'm going to develop the database, and it'll probably have 3 tables in it. And there'll be joins, and there'll be some other stuff. So tomorrow we'll do a couple joins. It's hard to do a join on one table. But tomorrow we'll put some joins in here. All right? All right, so the rest of the period's yours then.